Good afternoon. It's recorded in Matthew chapter 16, verse 26, that Jesus, not long after he had told his disciples about his impending death and the things that were going to transpire in regard to that, he spoke these words: "For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul?" I'm not surprised at how little attention the world pays to those, what I consider infinitely important uh, statements. What surprises me more than anything else is that Christians often don't give proper thought to this verse and others. Perhaps we think they're not spoken to us, and certainly Jesus was speaking to his disciples uh, 2,000 years ago about. But they were recorded so that you and I and everyone else can read them and make the proper application of them into our lives. And so we ought to give proper thought to those words because they're written to everybody. And since we do live in the world, and right now we're having a pretty rough time, I guess, of it, there are necessities that we need to take care of. We do need to plan for our future. We do need to make the proper preparations for a retirement account, for example, to help us during those golden years. We sometimes look for better paying jobs so that we might be able to live a little more comfortably. Uh, there are things that we do. Some of us budget our income so that we're able to do the things that we want to do and pay for them. But we need to be careful in regard to all of our planning and the things that we go about doing day by day, to not become so focused on the present world and the needs of this world that we put the business of living in this world before our souls. I can tell you, these golden years that are spoken of, some of them are not as good as they're purported to be. If we could have our golden years when we were 20 or 30 years old, we'd enjoy them a whole lot more, I guarantee you. But yes, we do need to prepare for that. But from my standpoint, I believe it's far, far more important to plan for what comes after our golden years. I realize that most of you who sit through all of these little talks that I've made, and there's others that are making them as well, and the videos that you see on Facebook or from other churches and things of that sort. I realize that you're pretty religious minded, or you wouldn't sit through all of that. But we, above everyone else, should know that our soul outlives our physical body. Our soul is eternal. It will exist forever and ever. So I'm going to ask you the question. Since you're religious minded, do you put the things of this world before your soul? Now, I suspect we don't do that intentionally, but I'm afraid sometimes we get so involved with the world that that we tend to focus on it more than we do in eternity. Because after all, we're young and we've got several years ahead of us, maybe. As I said earlier, our earthly life is important, and we must plan for the things that it brings. But in the overall scheme of things, that's of such little importance, because at the most we can hope for maybe 100 years or so. We're not even promised that. But what is 100 years if we should be able to live that long, compared to eternity, which is unending? It goes on forever and ever and ever without end. Death is certain. I know you believe that. It's never, though, very far away. It can happen in a heartbeat. And after our physical death, our eternal soul will experience the consequences of what this physical life led. Will our souls be happy, or will they be miserable? Will we enjoy being in Abraham's bosom, or will we be doomed to weeping and wailing and gnashing of our teeth, where the worm never dies and where the fire is never quenched? What then should be our greatest concern? Living in this world or living in the next? The answer to that question lies in where your mind is set. So let me ask you one last question. Consider which world you think about the most. Are you focused? Are your thoughts that are going through your mind on an everyday, day by day basis more focused on the world? Or are they focused on beyond this world? I hope you think about that seriously and contemplate the consequences of a wrong decision. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day.